the royal seal arrived at Ironvane before the sun did. It sat in the gatehouse tray like a coal that had forgotten how to cool. By dawn, the page lay on Aldric Vane's desk beside 3 Orelle ledgers and the salt-warped Abbey book. For records. 1 erased house. 1 seal from the crown that had erased it.
No clerk mistakes a royal seal for a courtesy. Someone authorized this reply, or someone owns the hand that authorized it.
The wax is real. The paper is crown stock. The lie is not in the object.
Then the crown knows Orelle exists. Or it knows how to sign for the dead.
No one answered him quickly. In that house, a sentence could become a shape if it was allowed to sit long enough. In the great hall, Lyra sat among hundreds of chalk circles. The same broken mark she had drawn in the night repeated across the flagstones in the small uneven pressure of a child's hand.
Little love, I need the garden again. Not the mark. The man.
He was tall. He spoke kindly. He said the shape was for later, and I would know when later came.
Did he touch you? Did he give you anything?
No. He only showed me how to leave the circle open.
Cael crouched beside the chalk without touching it. Last week he had killed a man on a marsh road. This morning, he was afraid of white dust on stone. General Harrod arrived wet from the north yard with courier roots under his arm. He did not ask why the child was on the floor. He looked once and understood the room had already become evidence.
3 crown couriers came through our roads last month under dead warrants. Same route marks, same countersign, different riders. The office named on the papers closed 22 years ago.
An office does not ride. Men ride.
Yes, my lord. But men like a dead office because it does not answer questions.
They spread the roots beside the ledgers. Seraphine's finger moved from famine to burned roads, from burned roads to Malachar, and from Malachar to a blank margin where the ink should have ended. The blank margin darkened. Wet ink gathered without a pen. A 4th column opened itself along the page.
Do not touch it. No one touches it.
What is it writing?
Not history. Not anymore.
For marks appeared. Not names, not letters, only dark measures like tally strokes. Lyra turned from the hearth before anyone spoke.
That is later.
Harrod, seal the gates. Quietly. No alarm bell.
Already done by the time you finish the sentence. I will double the inner doors and move the children away from windows.
Do not move them away from us. That is how traps become separate rooms.
At noon, a crestless carriage came up the north road through hard rain. Its wheels threw mud against the castle stones, and its driver kept his hood low. Wren Orelle stepped down alone with a sealed packet against her chest. She was 15, ash-haired, sea-eyed, and carrying a house the crown had failed to bury.
Wren Orelle. You were not expected.
Expected things are easier to kill. Lady Seraphine sent me because she thinks your refusal was honest.
It was my father's refusal.
Then she thinks your father is honest. She is less sure about the road behind me.
Cael offered his hand. Wren looked at it, decided against the gesture, and climbed the steps without help. In the study, Seraphine opened Wren's packet. Inside was a blank ledger page wrapped in oilcloth and a note from Lady Seraphine written in a hand as hard as cliff stone.
My great-aunt says the 4th copy began to mark itself 3 nights ago. She sent me with the page because the riders outside our hall were watching the road, not the sea.
Did she send you as witness or leverage?
Witness. If she wanted leverage, she would have sent the marriage offer again.
Then the offer is not on this table.
Good. I did not come here to be discussed like weather.
For the first time since the seal arrived, Cael almost smiled. It vanished before it became useful to anyone. Seraphine laid Wren's blank page beside the bleeding column. The wet strokes matched. Different paper, same hand, same future.
This is not a message. It is a schedule.
Schedules can be broken.
Only if you know what clock they use.
The clock was under the castle. It appeared where Harrod's dead warrants met the old Vane archive map, in a service tunnel no servant living remembered.
My own wall.
Your grandfather's wall. Your house inherited the stone, not the truth under it.
Then they were not outside. They were waiting for a door we forgot.
They went below with lanterns. Seraphine first among the records, Aldric behind her, Harrod with the guards, Cael carrying light, and Wren reading shelf marks as if every erased house left the same kind of scar. In a crown-stamped box beneath 3 generations of dust, they found the dead office. Not a man. Not a title. A route, a warrant form, a countersign, and a habit of being obeyed.
Office of Continuance. I saw that stamp once during the Northern Campaign. The clerk told me it was obsolete.
And you believed him.
I was 24 and losing men faster than I could bury them. I believed anyone who handed me a road.
That is how this survives. It offers order during ruin, then keeps the keys after.
The route line ran from the old north culvert to the nursery corridor. Not to the armory. Not to the gatehouse. To Lyra.
No.
Yes. Look at the line, Aldric.
I am looking at it.
They found the tunnel mouth behind a fallen shelf and a panel of damp stone. A broken circle had been scratched beside the iron door from the inside.
If they are already in the wall, the gate does not matter.
The gate still matters. Everything matters when the house has been entered.
Night came with the castle pretending to sleep. The lamps were lowered. The corridors were thinned. The family did not scatter into safer rooms. Cael took the corridor outside Wren's chamber because the order bored him, and because boring orders were often the ones that kept people alive.
You are standing too close to the lamp. Anyone coming up the stair can see your shadow first.
Are all Orelles this encouraging?
The dead ones are quieter.
On the dry corridor stone, a line of water appeared. Drop after drop. It crossed from the service stair toward Lyra's guarded door.
Wren, stay behind me.
No.
That was not a debate.
Then you should have said something true.
The man came around the bend in a black travel cloak with no crest and a covered knife low at his side. His face was hidden. His steps were not. Cael moved first. The short blade met the knife in a hard, ugly sound that woke every sleeping nerve in the hall. Wren threw a brass candlestick at the attacker's wrist. It did not look graceful. It worked.
Cael.
Inside. Now.
Lyra stood in her doorway with a candle in both hands. Behind Cael, Wren put herself between the child and the stair without waiting to be asked. Aldric arrived with steel drawn. Seraphine arrived one breath after him and looked first at Lyra, then at the body, then at the glove.
Do not move him. Harad, hold the corridor.
Back. All of you back. Give Lady Vane the floor.
Under the assassin's glove, a broken circle had been scarred into the wrist. Not ink. Not oath ring. Flesh.
Who sent you? Spend the last breath well.
The man smiled with blood on his teeth and died before the answer could become useful.
He was not sent. He was maintained.
That distinction can wait.
No. It cannot. Sent men can be recalled. Maintained men continue until the mechanism is broken.
At dawn, Ironvane became a copy house. Scribes wrote until their hands cramped. Seraphine sealed packets herself. Harrod marked roads. Aldric wrote one short letter to every house named in the ledgers.
No accusations, no plea for alliance, only copies and the sentence. This was done in your name or it was hidden from you.
Half of them will burn it.
Then the other half will know who burned first.
Wren pressed a plain Orelle seal beside the Vane mark. For the first time in 3 generations, her house left proof of itself on purpose.
My aunt will hate that I did this without asking.
Will she be wrong?
No. That is why she will hate it.
Lyra watched the packets multiply across the hall. Secrecy, she learned, could be hurt by making too many copies of it.
If everyone has the page, does the man in the garden still have the secret?
Less of it.
Good.
The couriers rode before the rain ended. One north through Pine. One east over the Black River. One south toward the capital. Others toward houses that would deny receiving anything until they knew who else had read. That night, far beneath the capital, an unopened Vane packet was placed on a black table. 6 candles burned in a room the palace did not admit having. Lord Baron Vexlow sat at the far end of the table. Dead by record. Alive by habit. Patient as ink drying in a closed book.
Lord Vane has finally learned to send copies. Good. A man is more interesting after he stops asking permission from the shape of the board.
He opened the packet. The paper inside was blank.
Seraphine, then. Aldric sends a blade. She sends an empty sheath and waits to see who reaches for it.
On the blank paper, wet ink appeared without a pen. For strokes. Then a 5th.
There you are. The 5th stroke always tells the truth.
At Ironvane, dawn lifted pale over locked gates and exhausted guards. The riders were gone. The assassin was dead. The ledger remained. On the great hall floor, Lyra wiped away one broken circle with a damp cloth. The chalk became a white smear. Damaged, not gone. Above her, Cael practiced one slow blade form in the yard while Wren watched from the wall. No one called it an alliance. No one needed to. Aldric and Seraphine stood together on the battlements, looking toward roads that had already carried their war beyond the walls.
We have forced him to answer.
No. We have forced him to choose which answer costs least.
Then we read the cost.
And this time, we read before he writes the ending.
In the study below them, the closed ledger darkened at the page edge. Somewhere above the crown and under it, someone was still writing.